Toby, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, before the sun is up even.
The sun is up?
No, it's not. It's too early.
I thought you said the sun is up already because
before
I saw the clouds earlier when I was coming into the office. Okay, let's talk about Facebook. They don't seem to be getting out of news, but there's a couple of developments that have been happening.
Yes, they released their results yesterday, and they are expecting to pay $3 to $5 billion for a fine with the Federal Trade Commission. They had an agreement with the FTC in 2011 that they would inform their users of any breaches of their privacy or their data, which of course they didn't because the whole Cambridge Analytica thing happened, and a series of other things. Some American lawmakers are pushing for Mark Zuckerberg to be held personally liable for this whole FTC scandal. He has been standing up in public and saying, I'm at fault, I'm responsible, I'm.
So do we expect part of the money to come from his pocket?
I don't think so. I think he's going to escape censure. They've got their big F8 conference at the end of the month next week in San Jose.
Are you going to be there?
I'm going to be there. It's just outside of California, outside of San Francisco in California, in the kind of heart of Silicon Valley. So it's going to be very interesting because Facebook showed an increase in revenue collection. They've shown they've grown their daily users and monthly users 8%. Their daily users up to 1.56 billion people. They say their monthly users up to 2.38 billion. People are still using Facebook, and they're saying, I think it's 90% to the 93% of the advertising is coming through mobile. So they've truly transitioned to a mobile business in terms of their ad sales. But what's quite interesting is that they are trying to pivot into a privacy-orientated messaging app. I think what Facebook's realized is they cannot control the news feed. They've banned white supremacists, but they cannot control that data. So they're trying to turn their business into something that looks a bit more like WeChat.
And could we hear, do you think you anticipate that at this conference they could maybe unveil or say a little bit more about this issue?
Yeah, I'm expecting some big announcements in this regard, especially around the messaging apps. I mean, they quite interestingly, I need to read you these figures because they now break out the figures for the messaging apps. And that's what's quite interesting. Obviously, the phone won't unlock while you're on television. But the interesting thing about is they break out the number of messaging apps, and they're saying 2.7 billion use Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, or Messenger every month. So they're trying to aggregate all of that data into one thing. On average, 2.1 billion use Facebook services of some kind every day, and that's a lot of people, and Facebook is unlikely to escape regulation. I just can't see it happening. Certainly not in Europe.
And then there's a big fine that's coming their way and pressure to single out the CEO Mark Zuckerberg. Okay, Samsung, just a couple of weeks ago, was it last month? We were all excited about the Galaxy Fold launch. You came here, you spoke about it.
Yes.
But now something seems to have gone wrong.
Well, unfortunately for Samsung, and it's a terrible own goal. They sent review units to some of the American tech site publishers, and the units just weren't good. The screens started buckling and folding. There's some protective layer which the journalists try to pull off thinking was a screen protector, but the phones have just not stood up to review, and it's been very damaging to Samsung's reputation. They say that the screen can be opened and closed 200,000 times, which is
so that's
more
not
than
been
enough.
the experience.
But yeah, so it hasn't been what's happened, and some screens have gone dead. So there've been issues with their product, and that's never going to help, especially because Huawei have their own foldable screen, and I mean, from my experiences, I just had a look at it, and I could see the Huawei was better production quality.
I guess Samsung's going to be busy trying to address some of those
issues. I don't think they're going to not launch it. They're just going to take a bit of time. It's supposed to be on Tuesday night, the launch globally, which they had to...
Next Tuesday.
This previous Tuesday, 2 nights ago, and they pulled that. Bad news for them. It's a bit like the the Note battery saga. You know, it was a terrible own goal. But against the odds, I mean, I really didn't think they'd come back from that, but they did.
Okay,
so
we'll
we can expect the same, you know, tenacity from Samsung. They've proved that they're pretty good at overcoming obstacles, and it's a bit of a rarity in the cell phone industry, because you know when you kind of start getting left behind, it's very unlikely that you pull together. Think about the very first big manufacturer was the American-made Motorola. They were overtaken by the Finnish company Nokia, and then the Canadian company BlackBerry took an early lead, and when all three of those companies stumbled, they never recovered. The fact that Samsung recovered after those Note fires, that's pretty remarkable, and they had really good sales. So we do seem to be in a different era, but Samsung's...
We'll have to wait and see if they do recover. Thank you very much, Toby. And you travel well.
I shall.
San Jose, and we'll
I
talk
won't
about
see you
Facebook
next week, but I'll see you the following week.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That's Toby Shapshak. He's, of course, the publisher, the editor, rather, of and the publisher of the Stuff magazine.